Subject to Jishagya reason to Shingi Mento, Tiji Punjumba Segi Lumbu, Tavo Jibeko, Shagya Jabu Bylakkuppe. Yunde Sanje Kunda Nyamnayang, Kadin Sanje Kunle Lobebet, Zawe Lame Shablaso de Tauzo Duju to Rechingi Lo. So this time, as you heard, topic is on what? Clarification, confusion, and then to clarify the confusions, and then about which Vajrayana, but it is nowadays called Tibetan Buddhism. As you all know, that Shakyamuni Buddha came on this earth about 2,500 something years before. And then what Buddha taught is what is known as the Dharma. And within that Dharma is the three main vehicles. The first vehicle on the Four Noble Truths teaching, that which explains about cause and the effect of samsara, and then a cause and effect of nirvana. That which is common in all the Buddhism, like whether it is Theravada Buddhism, or Mahayana Buddhism, or Vajrayana Buddhism, or even Zen Buddhism, or in a way like kind of based on country like Sri Lanka, Ceylon, Burma, Cambodia, Vietnam, or Nepal, China, Tibet, just or Bhutan, or anywhere that all just understand and follow those kind of Four Noble Truths teaching, which is mainly concentrating on the law of karma. So in that sense, there is no difference among all the kind of Buddhist followers and the Buddha's teaching. Then a second turning wheel of Dharma, then a Buddha mostly concentrated on, in a way, what is known as Prajna Paramita. So Prajna Paramita teaching is very extensively explained and taught, which in a way the most largest is about 100,000 verses of Prajna Paramita teaching, and then the medium is called 25,000 verses, and then more contents is 8,000 verses, and besides that there are in between, kind of Buddha taught, in a different occasion, different place, kind of certain part of those, kind of Prajna Paramita. That within that Prajna Paramita teaching, that main thing is of the kind of Mahayana. One is how to train one's mind to be as a bodhisattva, so which means giving rise to bodhicitta, and then the bodhisattva path, the practices, so that can be easily condensed into what is known as the sixth perfection, such as kind of generosity, morality, patience, perseverance, and then samadhi, meditation, and then the wisdom. So those 6 perfection. So on that day, like a Prajna Parmita, then the Acharya Nagarjuna that wrote commentary concentrating on the kind of like a emptiness aspect. So within the Prajna Parmita, one most important teaching or most crucial teaching is based on kind of emptiness. So Nagarjuna wrote to like this Mool Madhyamik root that about 27 chapters that which help to understand about what is known as the emptiness without any elaboration, which is gone beyond any sort of conceptual mind. And at the same time, there are many other, kind of like a Nagarjuna also wrote. But based on his teaching, then like Acharya Chandrakirti and then others have written, kind of the, again, commentary, still to understand about the, kind of emptiness. According to that, then there is the explanation of within the Madhyamik philosophy, then there is the Prasangika philosophy, and then the Sautandrika philosophy, and so forth. That extensive explanation on the emptiness with the kind of proper logical reasons, that which is kind of explained. So then, on the other hand, the Asanga, Acharya Asanga, like engaging into practice of the visualization of Maitreya Buddha for 12 years. So there is a long kind of story how he concentrated into it. Anyway, finally that Maitreya Buddha appeared to him, and then took him to Kanden, that great joy heaven, and then he transmitted the 5 major teachings, out of which again that the commentary on the Prajna Parmita Sutra, which is known as Prajna Parmita Alankara Ubade Shastra Nama. So that explanation based on the kind of like a 10 bhumis, 10 stages of the Bodhisattva realization, and that part is explained from the vast aspect. So that way, these two are known as 2 pioneers. Pioneers, am I saying right? So in the Mahayana Sutra, one kind of concentrate on the just profoundness of the Prajna Parmita according to the emptiness, and the other on the vastness of the Bodhisattva kind of path, and then the bhumi, and then every single bhumi, from first bhumi all the way to 10th bhumi, all those realizations and qualities, kind of like a extensive, kind of like explanation. So that based on the Prajna Parmita, anyhow, that which follow as Mahayana, and that like in Tibet, China, and Japan, then some part even in Nepal and Bhutan. Of course, kind of in those days, it started in the Nalanda University, including Bikarmashila University, those Prajna Parmita, the Mahayana Sutra. So from that point, within all the Mahayana followers, there is no any kind of difference. It is kind of same, and that in Tibetan Buddhism also we follow, and has extensive study on like all those commentaries of Nagarjuna, Chandakirti, Ajara Shandarakshita, Ajara Shandadeva, and Asanga, and so forth. All those, based on those commentary, just we have in our institution study as part of the, kind of like a course. In South India, Namdroling, the Ngagyur Nyingma Institute. So that it is almost all the Tibetan Buddhist colleges have, kind of like study on it. Then I don't know how much you are familiar with the like Ajahn Shantadeva's text, the Bodhicharya Avatara, the Bodhisattva way of life. So, if you read on it, on the 9th chapter, it has 10 chapters, but the 9th chapter is the wisdom chapter. So that wisdom chapter is again concentrating on the Prajnaparamita Sutra. So there are some, kind of like disputes or like, disagreements among the, kind of Hinayana way of believing about the, emptiness, and Mahayana way of, understanding the, emptiness. So that way, just there are some, kind of like a contradiction that which raised by the Hinayana and the common people, even common people, who don't know or don't hear or don't understand about like a emptiness of, kind of phenomena, which is can be, more profound, and it is hard to have even just concept of like a phenomena, all the phenomena are emptiness. So according to that, there are, kind of like a argument against the, prasangika, just a madhyamic philosophy. Because prasangika madhyamic philosophy, like Chandakirti and so forth, they try to establish that the, whole complete phenomena, not just only the samsaric phenomena, not just only even our 5 aggregates, even the Buddha field, even the Buddha fields, and even the Buddha's, the appearance of Buddha's body, or even the deities, what you hear, or maybe, kind of like a read that in Vajrayana, how many deities are there, all are, kind of emptiness in nature. So there is a lots of things to, kind of like study and hear more on this Prajnaparamita, including, Vajrayana teachings. It's just kind of like very extensive, equal to this whole, kind of universe, existence of the whole universe. Everything has to be, kind of like explained, according to the, absolute truth or absolute reality, what it is. So it explains that everything is emptiness. So such of things may be hard to fathom about, and hard to, in one way maybe even hard to understand. And besides that, even maybe not, cannot, just have a concept about such kind of like, emptiness. Even for example, like the emptiness of self, that which is very common in the, kind of Theravada, or the what is called lesser vehicles, that about, the emptiness of self, that which even, common people, first of all, they even never heard it. Because all believe, all just human beings anyway, believe everything is more or less, kind of permanent, and everything more or less true existence, and everything that we feel, oh, this is all real. What we see, what we hear, what we smell, what we taste, and what we have the texture, and whatever we are relating with our, kind of imagination, that thing, this is all real. There is no tiny bit of even a doubt whether these are real or not. Nobody has that. So then when the Buddha's teachings comes, or like emptiness of self, emptiness of five aggregates, emptiness of phenomena, anybody can be, kind of like confused, and anybody may be, hard to believe, that which is very possible. And why it is? Because even to really, have a little bit of doubt about whether these phenomena are emptiness or not, just hearing some teaching on emptiness, just to have that thought, also one need to have enough accumulations of merit in the past lifetime, or some sense of habitual tendency of hearing such teaching in the past lifetime, or even just have some aspiration prayers that which one have done in the past lifetime, that one may hear, like all these Prajnaparamita Sutra teachings. So many of those cause and conditions, when it is lacking, and then just when you hear about even emptiness of self or phenomena, anything, it is just kind of like a hard to accept, hard to believe, and hard to kind of understand. So that is why there is already lots of argument. If everything is emptiness, then how the law of karma works, so forth there are. Not only that, then later in Tibet, many of the Tibetan, the four schools of Tibetan Buddhism, all those kind of scholars have written just tons of commentaries on Prajnaparamita Sutra, and also on this Asanga's Prajnaparamita, that text commentary, and so forth, like Nagarjuna's emptiness explanation, Chandrakirti's kind of explanation, and so forth, including like Acharya the Chandar Rakshita, who was the abbot of the Nalanda University in the 7th century, who invited to Tibet by the Dharma King Tuzong Devzen, and anyway he wrote that Madhyamik Alankara. So there is still just kind of so many things to kind of like as a Buddhist follower, as a kind of like a Buddhist kind of training, and not just only that. In a way, the explanation of emptiness is the what is known as absolute truth or absolute reality. And that emptiness also apply not just only external phenomena or the objects, but even this our mind, also emptiness in nature. From that point of view, in a way, all the Mahayana schools, whatever we are existing today, from the Buddha's time till now, there is no difference on teaching whether it is, kind of like a, thing, or it is teaching in Pali or, kind of Sanskrit. In generally, there is a source of belief that all the Theravada or Hinayana teachings are taught in Pali, and all the Mahayana teachings are taught in Sanskrit. But in reality, just the Buddha's kind of voice or speech does not have a self-characterized language. So where even Buddha saying, "Sadang ludang nujinke tubun tad mi kenan rogunje tajeche dama thamjike dudag chedan," which means like a God's language, Gandharva's language, and non-human beings' language, and then just the Gandharva and so many, whatever sorts of, even many of those non-human beings, even we kind of don't have any specific example to point it out what is Gandharvas and so forth. And besides, I think like a scientists, and then if they cannot see or cannot hear or cannot kind of like a touch, then like a modern science and scientists also ignore completely, and besides they say this is not true, it's not existing. So when one cannot hear, or when one cannot see, or when one cannot touch, and not necessarily one can say it is not existing, because it is not logic. If one cannot see, one cannot hear, and one cannot touch, if it is non-existent, then even like, before the computer said existing, we never see our intestine, heart, or lungs. Then how one can see, how one can say, oh, these are heart are not existing. And like, kind of like a, just maybe 100 to 100 years, like, in Asia, then America, like, kind of that country. Nobody has seen, nobody has, heard about it, nobody could be there, and then how one can say it is not existing. So that doesn't become a logic, including this our mind. None of just being can see their mind. So can anybody say, oh, mind is not existing because I didn't see it? It doesn't make any sense. So, however, that the Buddha's kind of like voice or speech or language does not have any specific self-characterized language. Means that when Buddha taught, then all those individual beings, including those who have different languages, whether it is God or Preta or Gandharvas or non-human beings, whoever, they all can hear exactly according to their own language. Does not need, kind of translation. So there is no much, reason to argue. Oh, Buddha taught in Sanskrit, Buddha taught in Pali. The importance of that, as we are as a Buddhist follower, to follow what Buddha taught, is that what is the essence of the Buddha's teaching. We are supposed to know that. Doesn't matter whether Buddha taught in Sanskrit or Pali or maybe just normal Hindi language, because Buddha born in Lumbini, which considered before as India. Now it is in Nepal. So then the Nepal and Indian, they all, no, Buddha born in Nepal. Then they, no, Buddha born in India. People just fighting for it, kind of. So, like there are so many things like that for no much, great benefit or reason. People always just follow with their ego, oh my country, my people, So that what it is actually anyway cause of the suffering, the ego, self-attachment, self-cherishing. That was the kind of Buddha's essence of on teaching. That even like a Hinayana, in the Hinayana Sutra, Tripitakas also explained that. Then in Mahayana, of course, the just emptiness of all phenomena. And then in Vajrayana, exactly same thing, that emptiness. So most unique teaching in the Buddhism, that what we really must have to know is the emptiness. In all these existing whatever religions or philosophies in this world, that none of other religion or philosophy could explain about what is known as emptiness. Never. And then not just only that emptiness, most important way how to understand emptiness is that then Buddha said it is interdependent origination. Everything arises out of interdependent cause and conditions. So these two are the most profound philosophy and most profound teaching, and also most unique. So that is why, in a way, even now in the modern world, 21st century, many of the kind of scientists now they are also really getting so much excited and interested about this kind of Buddhist philosophy from the interdependent origination aspect, not from emptiness. Even though this quantum physics, quantum physics, as they anyway do all sorts of kind of like experiment. And they have also come to some kind of conclusion that it is something like emptiness. They can't find anything. But they are just now scared to say it is emptiness. Because then they just come to kind of conclusion of Buddha's teaching that Buddha taught 2,500 years back. And then maybe just become, they become Buddhist, kind of Buddhist follower or, kind of Buddha's follower, so they were worried. So they never say emptiness. But they have already, come to such point, sorts of, kind of like a understanding. So that itself proves that what Buddha taught is truth, based on the nature of phenomena, based on the reality, whether it is relative truth or absolute truth. So that same philosophy is kind of more extensively and more clearly explained in Vajrayana. In Vajrayana, that the what you hear as tantras, So from that point of view, kind of the Sutrayana, Mahayana, or the Vajrayana, there is no difference. So there are also things. First you have to know what are the common things within all Buddhism and within the Mahayana and Vajrayana, based on the Buddha's kind of three turning wheels of Dharma. And then the third turning wheel of Dharma is which is called Nyepa Twengi Dote, means kind of like all the definite meanings, or more like kind of absolute reality. That there are about kind of 10 main sutras that which explain about the this main subject of the third turning wheel of Dharma, which is more or less concentrated on what is known as a Buddha nature. the, Tathagat, the garb. In Sanskrit it is called Tathagat, means Buddha, garb, the essence or nature. So essence of the Buddha. So, and that has a very good commentary, just written by Asanga, that which is given to Asanga by, Maitreya Buddha. So in that there are, kind of like 9 examples. And those 9 examples are already taught by Buddha in those, kind of sutras. And then there is the, kind of logical, kind of reasoning to establish that, every single sentient being has that Buddha nature. So, which means that Buddha nature is that a potential, a cause, or a seed is within every single sentient being. If, just anybody engage into this path and practice, anyone can be attain enlightenment. So that is Buddha nature. So that the logic reason with the example of kind of Shakyamuni Buddha, that saying all these beings can attain enlightenment because they have the seed, potential, Buddha nature. For example, like Shakyamuni Buddha, or Maitreya Buddha, or Medicine Buddha, or Amitabha Buddha. Then if we read, Toti Kesang, the Sutra of Bright Aeon, there is thousands of Buddhas. All those can be examples. And before that, in the Sutra, there even happen, millions of Buddhas. All those names are also there. So all those Buddhas are, in the beginning of samsara, they are also same like us, a sentient being. And then, kind of, all these Buddha, those who, attain enlightenment from the beginning, and then taught this, teaching, and then they first hear this teaching, and then contemplate on it, and then engaging into practice, and with the meditation, and then finally they attain, kind of enlightenment by purifying all the obscurations. Anyway, obscurations are in generally, according to the Mahayana Sutra, and also in Vajrayana, condensed into 2. That the afflictive emotional obscuration, and then a cognitive obscuration. So 2 obscurations. And these are explained very clearly in that Asanga's, kind of text. That Sarnath Namdroling, then you move to the Korsum number Tobagang, then Shejet. So this way, just kind of 2 obscuration. So sentient beings, or the human beings, in a way, we even don't know what is obscuration. Then how one can just kind of like purify when one don't know what is obscuring. For example, like as I said, every single sentient being, wherever there is consciousness or mind, within that mind or within that consciousness, there is the Buddha nature. And at the same time, it also explains that wherever there is Buddha nature, it is already accomplished with all the enlightened qualities. Those transcendental wisdom, just non-conceptual compassion and the unconditioned love and all sorts of the enlightened wisdom. Everything is just present right now within every being. So that what it is taught Buddha in the sutra, and then in this Asanga, in his commentary and so forth, there are just tons of many other great masters, scholars, realized beings have written commentary on that to understand and explain. So then question comes, if we have that all the Buddha's enlightened quality within us, then why we could not experience it? Why we could not realize it? Why we could not just kind of activate that, kind of like the quality? So that is why then say, it's because of obscuration. Afflictive emotional obscuration and cognitive obscurations. So that when one just know, then one just kind of like know how to purify those obscurations. So afflictive emotional obscuration obscures to just even attain liberation, nirvana. Even to obtain arhat realization, you must have to purify this, afflictive emotional obscuration. So to purify this afflictive emotional obscuration, you must have to realize the emptiness nature of self. Without that, it is not possible. Then to purify this, the second obscuration, the cognitive obscuration, is that of what is called three spheres of concept, as like object, subject, and action. Three concepts. Every time, whatever we do, we have these three concepts in a very subtle level. Even you just do prostration to Buddha, then you are thinking, this is Buddha, object. And then I am doing prostration, subject. And then the action, I'm doing prostration. So even you just do some kind of like offering, or even you read the Dharma textbook, or even you talk to somebody, even you just be kind of generous about just giving some food to a kind of like a beggar, or even you are just kind of criticizing to somebody, even you are praising to kind of Buddha. All the time you have, this is me, and to this object I'm doing this action. Three spheres of concept. Very, very, very subtle. So, and as long as one have this, it is obscuring the one's, like a true nature of mind. Because mind's, in a way, in its kind of nature, it is something pure, enlightened, but when you are involved with this kind of concept, then you are already obscured and kind of like a distracted. So this obscuration, how Buddha taught, so one can look into oneself. As long as there is afflictive emotion, then it is obscuring to attain liberation, because as long as there is the afflictive emotion, and according to that you kind of verbally you just kind of like say something, physically you act something, and that is how you are accumulating karma. So as long as there is the karma and then the afflictive emotion, already there is the cause and condition to reborn in samsara. Not possible to liberate. So that is why this has to purify. if we want to attain, kind of like a liberation. So, in the Prajnaparamita Sutra, Buddha said in one way very clearly, in a very condensed way, we're saying, semni semsumachi semgerangshi veso. So, which means sem, in Tibetan is mind. Semni means this mind. So that actually explains about the first turning wheel of Dharma, what is known as the Four Noble Truth teaching. So those Four Noble Truth teaching based on the law of karma, the cause and effect of samsara, and at the same time, cause and effect of nirvana. Everything is just created by our mind, this sentient being's mind. So just that explains the whole complete, Four Noble Truth teaching, semni. Semsumachi, then the second, word, semsumachi, means mind is not, existing as mind. No big confusion, Then one gets so not just only confused, and maybe even one may don't want to believe. Mind is not existing as mind. Then what? Then what is existing? And besides that, we just say, oh, my mind, my thinking, my feeling, my aggregate, So just have very strong kind of like a attachment, grasping, clinging, and all that created by habitual tendencies or habitual pattern or habitual propensities. So that a habit of holding my mind, my feeling, kind of my body, and then so forth, we have just kind of like thousands and thousands of which we can call my. And all those we are grasping, clinging, holding onto it. That as we are grasping, the obscuration of the three spheres of concept. And then when we get afflicted, the obscuration of afflictive emotion. So we can judge ourselves whether we are following the path for liberation or whether we are just kind of like a naturally drawn towards the path of samsara. Samsara and nirvana is not anything there, not outside. The Buddha field and Buddhas, not anywhere far away. And samsara is also nothing else. It is in one's mind. So that is why that saying, mind is not existing as a mind which explains, emptiness. The whole complete teachings of the Prajnaparamita Sutra. And then as you read Heart Sutra, where that explains, form is emptiness. And then emptiness is form. And form is not other than emptiness, and emptiness is not other than form. Similarly, rest of aggregate. Feeling is emptiness, emptiness is feeling. Feeling is not other than emptiness, and emptiness is not other than feeling. So means the form, this our form, this table form, this house form, the whole complete form itself is emptiness. You cannot find emptiness somewhere else in this space. this whole complete table form, it has to be emptiness by itself. So where, kind of in Sudara, Sugitong, Migitong, Tatretong, so means that this I is empty of, I itself. So like even this, Dorje Java, the Diamond Sudara, very direct. So in that way, just saying mind is empty of itself means that mind, what is called, just a sentient being's mind or samsaric mind. From the absolute point of view, that this mind is never existing. Our mind itself is, from the very beginning, it is a kind of, delusion. That is why we say it is ignorance. So, the ignorant mind or deluded mind or obscured mind or conceptual mind and so forth is never existed. It is emptiness in nature. But just being kind of like a, thought in that way, it is not that easy to accept, because we feel this our mind, we think, and then, kind of in many ways we think that, our mind, we utilize this mind and then, study and get, all sorts of intellectual understanding, and then within the, kind of samsara, we have all this, kind of like a education that we could become philosopher, kind of doctor, engineering and scientist and, technician and so forth. We think we are doing great. But still, one cannot experience that actual liberation. One cannot experience that actual happiness. We cannot experience actual that, like real peace. Still, there is something that not satisfied. Means, until and unless we know the absolute true nature of the mind, till to that one could not just experience that the actual, kind of peace or happiness or that liberation. Because this mind is again influenced by that ignorance or that delusion or that afflictive emotion. So in a way, just maybe I'm going too straightforward into just to the essence of this Buddha's teaching. So anyway, that seems so much that mind is empty of itself, or mind is not existing as a mind, which means it doesn't have any essence. And according to, there are so many, even within the Heart Sutra, that mind saying out of 5 aggregate, mind is emptiness and emptiness is mind. Mind is not other than emptiness and emptiness is not other than mind. So when you contemplate or reflect on it, it is hard to fathom, hard to imagine. For example, like when somebody, say, give you my car key, I left something in my car, can you get it? Then say, how your car looks like. It is, kind of BMW, gray in color, and then, kind of this number, and so then you could just go through imagination, kind of like you create the imagination that how that car looks like, and then with that imagination you walk and go and find it out in the parking, and then you say, I must be this one. But when we talk about the emptiness is mind, and mind is emptiness, and mind is not other than emptiness, and emptiness is not other than mind, then just just what is this, It is not even just explaining anything about like a emptiness is beyond any sort of elaboration. It's not explaining even just emptiness is gone beyond 4 extremes or 8 extremes or 16 extremes or 32 extremes. It's not talking anything about that. So that what it is kind of like a very profound about the whole complete teachings of the Prajnaparamita Sutra. And that word mind is not existing as a mind itself, the Prajnaparamita teaching thing. And then then finally come to the absolute reality and absolute truth, that thing, nature of mind is clarity. Nature of mind is luminous. Or nature of mind is awareness. We have only this in English awareness, It also can be very confusing with many other awareness. So that clarity or luminous or awareness, that explained about Vajrayana. So in Vajrayana, in generally, Vajrayana or Tibetan Buddhism, what you hear, it is actually not like a Tibetan Buddhism. Because it was existing in India, for example, like Shakyamuni Buddha taught about the Kalachakra Tantra. It was in India. And similarly, that a whole bunch of other tantras that Buddha taught, including the King Indra Bodhi, that from the northern part of kind of like India, when kind of like the king saw that the Buddha's disciples, arhat and so forth, they could kind of fly. So when they saw, they were surprised. The king said, "Whoa, what is those kind of looks like yellow birds?" And the minister said, "No, these are Buddha's followers, arhats, and then they who have those realization, they were invited for a just kind of like a lunch feast." Then in the Buddha, "Oh, can I also invite?" "Oh, sure, you can invite." Then anyway, the long story short, then the sent minister to invite Buddha and Buddha's disciple for a kind of lunch, and then kind of Buddha accepted, and then they were waiting, king and so forth waiting, and then Buddha and all his disciples flying, kind of from, I don't know, maybe from Nalanda University or somewhere. Not sure how long it took, Also need any ticket or visa or anything. So it is kind of like free fly, So waiting, and then they all came from, kind of like sky. So then how that just King Indra Bodhi and then all his subject minister, everything, they offer all this, kind of a lunch and feast and everything. And then finally that Indra Bodhi said, "I want to follow you in Buddha." And then Buddha said, "Well, that's very good. Very good. You just, come follow me and just entered into the, monastery, just, receive this ordination. And then you can just be, kind of like continue to study the Dharma." And then what the Indra Bodhi said, I think he is the emanation of the modern world. He said, "Well, just I don't want such kind of path. I want to have all this luxury, the palace, wealth, the family, and everything. With this, everything what I have, I don't want to abandon anything. With all this together, still I want to follow this spiritual path." Even though Buddha as an enlightened being, of course he knows, but to just get into things become more clear in many ways. So then Buddha said, "Oh, you are qualified vessel for the Vajrayana." And then kind of Buddha kind of open the, just a Guya Samaja, kind of deity mandala. Deity mandala, and then it started giving this, kind of like empowerment, which is called empowerment, apikanta, or initiation, that which is only existing in Vajrayana, the empowerment. Not necessarily in the sutra, just kind of doesn't need empowerment. So then when Buddha gave that empowerment, then there is, in a way, there is, as we have gone through yesterday, about the Avalokiteshvara, empowerment, and where that goes through so many detailed explanation about what is deity, how this came into existence, what is purpose, what is benefit, and so forth. So, as the Buddha, kind of like start the empowerment to the end, the king in their body just kind of like get it, everything like that. So that is the most qualified vessel for the Vajrayana followers, which means, within the levels of mind, there are, categorized into three, sharp level mind, medium level mind, and dull level mind. And within the sharp also, sharp, middle, sharp, dull. Similarly, dull, sharp, dull, middle, dull. So dull, very difficult. It takes long, many lifetimes, Have to purify lots, So if you are sharp level of mind, and that what it is known as the Vajrayana, kind of like a qualified vessel. So this, until you study this sutra, and then the, kind of Mahayana, and then slowly entered into Vajrayana. Within Vajrayana also there are outer Vajrayana and inner Tantra, outer Tantra, inner Tantra. Within the outer Tantra there is Kriya Tantra, Upatantra, Yoga Tantra, 3 levels. And with that it is almost like a course, whole complete course that you study in college or university. So once you've gone through those, then you have enough knowledge about Vajrayana. Then you entered into what is called the inner Tantra. Then there is study about Mahayoga Tantra, Anuyoga Tantra, and Adiyoga Tantra. So in the beginning there is Hinayana, Pratyek-Buddhayana, and Bodhisattvayana, those 3. So that already become 9 yanas, because of the 9 levels of kind of mind. So level means whether your mind is kind of sharp enough to understand the most profound teaching or not. So that way the thing in their body, anyway, when the empowerment is completed, he already just kind of recognized his primordial pure nature, which means his Buddha nature. He recognized everything like that. And that way he becomes just kind of liberated. That in our kind of text says, talk to in the Buddhism, talk drill. The moment the empowerment is conferred, and one just realize, and then drill, liberated. Means all those afflictive emotions are instantly, kind of purified. So in one way, this is, like a Dharma teaching, even Mahayana, and especially Vajrayana, especially, kind of like this, what you hear, the, Dzogchen, the great perfection, Ta Yaman. If oneself qualified vessel, the nirvana enlightenment is just a moment of recognizing your nature of mind. Anytime, anywhere, if you recognize your nature of mind, exactly just as the explanation of Buddha nature, you are done with the samsara. There is really nothing to really purify anything. It can be so simple like that. But then when one cannot just be somehow not the sharp level of mind, like you are not the knives and swords, the ninja fighters, they have to have this very sharp knife, and they have to make it very sharp. So anytime they just move it, they can cut it, Where in Tibet also they say girls, ladies, long hairs, and you just threw it in the sky, and then this sharp, kind of like a sword just hit and cut into so many pieces. The hair, so that much sharp. And similar like that, when we have those sharp mind of that, the wisdom, what is called transcendental wisdom, then one can recognize one's primordial pure nature according to the Vajrayana, the primordial pure nature. And that primordial pure nature of mind is always within oneself. The enlightenment, the Buddha, all the qualities of enlightened Buddha, those are never been, gone anywhere. It is still with ourself, with our being, in our absolute true nature of mind. It is always there. That is why in many of these sutras that saying, however you wander in the samsara, born in hell realms, the Buddha nature never gets worse or anything. Even you born in like heaven and you have just so much of enjoyment and good, the Buddha never get anything better. And whether you just wander in samsara or whether you just attain enlightenment, the Buddha nature just never get any change, because that is the absolute reality. So that absolute reality is, like uncompounded phenomena. Uncompounded. And uncompounded means, it is not compounded of any cause and condition. It is just as it is, from the moment whenever it has been existed, it is like that. So in one way you could understand, it is permanent. Uncompounded, permanent. Then also there is kind of like very clear explanation, because there are also so many other religions that they believe, like a Atma permanent, soul permanent, the God permanent, and so many of things there they believe permanent. Then one may have confusion. In Buddhism also there is something permanent. So there need lots of subtle, very subtle explanations what is the difference. That one which makes you be enlightened and liberated, and that one still just somewhere got a little bit lost. So there is just so many things to study in a much subtler and deeper way. So that the uncompounded Buddha nature, which is almost like, in one sense, kind of permanent, that in the Asanga, kind of this, the Uttara Tantra explained, that called, that it is not in the relative, kind of world, there is, permanent, impermanent. It is dualistic, good, bad, right, wrong, pure, impure, object, subject. It's dualistic. So that Buddha nature, that permanent is that which says it is gone beyond permanent and impermanent. It's gone beyond. It's not even permanent because there is no impermanent. So it is gone beyond those two. Then again, one get confused. It is not even just permanent, and of course it is not impermanent. Then what it is? then our mind still cannot just kind of like fathom that nature. This mind could not just kind of like, cannot imagine what is that great permanent. So that is why the absolute truth, the absolute reality, the absolute true nature of mind, that is the great perfection view, is gone beyond this mind. That even in the praise to the Prajna Paramita. Prajna Paramita is that transcendental wisdom which is known as the mother of all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and Arhats. That which gives birth to all those Arhats and Bodhisattvas and the Buddhas. Not only that, the just emptiness gives birth to whole complete existence of samsara in nirvana. So it is not permanent and it is not impermanent. So that kind of the absolute true nature of mind, what is called the union of emptiness and clarity. That how the king in their body, instantly got liberated just being receiving that empowerment. So that is what specializes in the empowerment ceremony. That in a way, even today also possible, such thing, but seems very difficult. Need most qualified master and most qualified disciples and most qualified empowerment. And when these three, most qualified thing, kind of takes place, the liberation is like that. So when these are not just kind of like a qualified in that way, then we need to go through all this, so many preparation. For example, you hear, maybe some of you might have heard, in Vajrayana, even you want to do all this, kind of like a great perfection, the Ati Yoga, the Eta human practice, and then you must have to do Wando, preliminary practices. Why one have to accumulate like 100,000 prostration and give rise to bodhicitta, so many times, and then, kind of like this mandala offering, 100,000 times Vajrasattva, 100 times Guru Yoga, just 1.3 millions or 1.2 millions. Here you have to accumulate. Why one have to do that? It's just to purify those obscurations. Purify obscuration at the same time to assemble the right causes and conditions to be more sharp mind by accumulating more merit and wisdom. And when that just kind of practice is done, kind of through that you become more sharper mind, then when these profound teachings happen, then in a way you will not get confused. You just feel like, oh, this is true. I know, I understand. But still, it is hard to just kind of imagine. That is why this, praise to the Prajna Paramita, where I don't know, those verses are even in Chinese too, maybe, that where we say Masam Jame Shara Parichin. Masam Jame cannot express the absolute true nature of phenomena, or that emptiness, or that Buddha nature, or that just enlightened mind in a way that cannot be expressed with any kind of language. And also cannot fathom with this mind. This our mind, this samsaric mind, in certain ways, it is self-characterized mind. That is why Acharya Shantadeva in his 9th chapter saying, Dandam lo ju min lo nukundu imbecher. Dandam, the absolute truth, that emptiness without any elaboration, is not the object of this our mind. Because this mind is relative. So that is why, just the absolute truth or the absolute reality or even that, absolute nature of one's mind is one's own primordial nature. It is your own primordial pure nature, your pure face, your true being is that one. But still, all this sentient beings never just kind of know and never understand. It's so profound. So that they cannot express and they cannot just kind of like fathom with this mind. And what is that? That is prajna paramita. And this kind of prajna paramita, which means your absolute true nature of mind, it is known as transcendental wisdom. Transcend. Transcend from where and what transcend? So, transcend from samsara and nirvana. Maybe also confusing. Because we understand transcend from samsara, because samsara is so much problem, suffering, difficulty, kind of all sorts of complication. But then why we have to transcend from nirvana? Once one achieves nirvana, that liberation, then still why we have to go beyond that? So according to the Hinayana, they say, okay, as long as you transcend from the samsara and you achieve that nirvana, the liberation, arhat reality, you are fine, you are out of samsara. You are just independent. You never ever have to reborn back in samsara. Never ever have to go through any samsaric complications. Unless you miss something in samsara. Parties, kind of hanging around, walking into malls, or picnics, or wedding, ceremonies. So many samsaric obligations, Even playing golf. Just walk around and eat some ice cream. So many things, How the samsara just does all those advertisements. You look into those television and, there's a magazines, they say, oh, this is like, kind of heaven on earth. You just go have, vacation. Then it just, all sorts of distraction. Anyway, that in nirvana, that according to arhat, they don't have to, kind of never ever have to reborn back in samsara. You are completely liberated. But the problem is arhats, they just abide into that what is called, in any way, just in Tibetan we say Gokpe Nyumjuk. So a meditative absorption of cessation. So just sit into that meditation. That they, kind of like sees all the afflictive emotion from its root, means abandon. So when there is no afflictive emotion, then never ever accumulate any karma. So when there is no these two, afflictive emotion and the karma, then there is no any cause and condition that you can reborn. Even you want to reborn, if you don't have this, you cannot reborn. Because everything is completely dependent on its specific causes and condition. Without that, nothing can happen. So they already just abandoned that because they realize the emptiness of self. So besides that also they accumulate certain number of merits too, and certain number of kind of sense of compassion and loving kindness, but very limited. So in abiding in this meditative absorption of cessation, does nothing. Never try to help any single sentient being. So that is why, according to Mahayana, that kind of like emphasize that you must have to kind of benefit all these sentient beings. Then there is kind of like why you have to help and benefit to liberate all these sentient beings. Then they are explained so many reasons. First of all is kind of like the very, very basic teaching that say one or other lifetime, all these parents, all these sentient beings are, one time like, kind of your father or mother. So that way you have to repay back the kindness. If you are a decent, kind of child, to repay back the kindness, a noble way of thinking. So with that, then emphasize you must have to give rise to bodhicitta, that you want to benefit all these sentient beings. So to benefit all sentient beings, then you must have to transcend this like arhats, kind of this nirvana, liberation. You must have to attain complete enlightenment, like Shakyamuni Buddha. And then only you can just kind of benefit all those kind of beings. So that way, where there are difference between the kind of Hinayana and Mahayana, and that based on view, meditation, discipline, and fruition, everything categorized into that. Anyway, this kind of like a Vajrayana, where as I mentioned earlier, that the absolute true nature of mind is kind of non-dual nature of the emptiness and awareness or clarity. So so in the sutra, kind of like going through like very basic, and then kind of it is just kind of like a long way to attain enlightenment. Because that the whole complete existence of this samsara and the nirvana is just the production or the creation of one's own mind. What Shakyamuni Buddha has discovered, according to his own realization and according to his own enlightenment, what he achieved, that Buddhahood. From that absolute point of view, whatsoever going on in samsara is your mind. Even you attain enlightenment is also your mind. So there is no anybody to blame for your suffering, for your problems, for your obstacles. There is no anybody to blame. No anybody to blame any of Lord gods or kind of Vishnu or somebody prayed, kind of the world creator. There is no anybody. So according to that, knowing that everything is one's mind. So as you follow those Chittamatari schools and Madhyamika schools, Buddhist philosophy, then there is a their own kind of explanation. So when the main root cause or the kind of the potential is mind, then just in reality what we need to do is just to correct this mind. Instead of just kind of like hanging and wandering with this samsaric mind, you need to just kind of like concentrate to realize the absolute true nature of mind. So that is why in the Vajrayana, kind of doesn't go through all these external explanations of so many things that which takes a long time. Directly just say kind of like a look into your mind, and just to search it out. What is mind? And just searching what is mind, then somehow there is no any other way to go anywhere other than just realizing the emptiness nature of mind. And if you realize the emptiness nature of mind, that emptiness does not mean like empty house or empty space or just an empty car or anything. So emptiness, even just in one way, even you look into your mind, whatever sorts of thoughts arising, positive thought, negative thought, neutral thought, any thought. So those all are your mind. Afflicted emotions, your mind. Feelings, your mind. Good thinkings, your mind. So when you look into your mind, what is mind? And you go on searching, you'll never ever find anything, any kind of single entity that you could say, to identify, oh, this is mind. You'll never ever find. Because this mind, this samsaric mind, is like cloud. Temporarily it is existing. Without having any source of inherent existence or inherent nature of mind. So you cannot find. Then one may think, oh, then it is completely empty, almost like empty space. But it is not. That is what it is, that which kind of searching. The objective mind and subjective mind, the searching that mind, that which is objective to search that mind. So both mind, object is also mind and subject is also mind and activity is also mind. So that when you look into one's mind, you cannot find mind, but still there is some sense of awareness. Something that which is, kind of like from the subjective point of view, something looking, that awareness. And then that, even that, kind of awareness itself is also, emptiness. So after some time, just the, objective mind, that which you are looking and searching, and then that subjective mind, that which is, kind of like a, searching for that, both equally dissolve into emptiness, but still there is some sense of, kind of like a awareness or luminous aspect, that which knows everything, which does not have any sorts of, kind of inherent existence or inherent true nature as to identify as something, oh, this is awareness. So once you could, kind of like a search thoroughly, and it is, possible that for a moment you just get into it. For a moment, and when you just really for a moment you get into it, you are just kind of like a almost like unconscious, but not in coma. There is something that and moment that you have that experience, and the moment that you wake up, you feel like, I experienced something. And when you try to imagine, also cannot imagine. You want to speak out, you cannot speak. That is called prajna paramita. That is called Buddha nature. That is called Ati Yoga, the great perfection, Rigpa, the awareness. And that, kind of which need to be recognized and then maintained. And that, just when you, kind of like actualize that, or even just maintaining in that nature, it just helps to purify all the obscuration, negativity and karma, and at the same time accumulate the greatest merit and wisdom. then the enlightenment is very fast. That is why you may hear that, according to the, like inner tantra or ati yoga, that the enlightenment is in a way, possible in one lifetime. As you hear all those great masters in the past who attained enlightenment in one lifetime, like Longchenpa or kind of Telopa and Naropa and so forth. Sometimes it is kind of like a very interesting, like about Naropas and Telopas, kind of like a story. Naropa has to go through so many of hardships following his master, the Telopa. Just only hardships. Nothing much really, specific teaching or empowerment or, kind of instruction. Naropa has become already a great scholar, that one of the great Pandita of the Nalanda University. So, even being a very great scholar, if one does not engage into real practice, also it is a knowledge that does not, kind of does not affect your afflictive emotion. Your afflictive emotion does not become reduced, and your just ego and grasping, clinging, these are never reduced, and this sense of concept of cherishing self and so forth, if not reduced, then still it is same, just a knowledge. So that is why Naropa have to find his master, how he can just do kind of actual practice. So he followed Telopa, and then coming to the point, he go through anyway so much of purification with the following his master. And then one day just kind of Telopa said, "Oh, now you get some water and I will put fire and we'll have a tea." And in the forest that is, and then it started doing that. And then Naropa tried to just kind of like burn that fire, and then got the church. And then he could not get the fire well. And then Telopa master just got so, kind of like frustrated, he could not get the tea in time. So then he took off his slipper and hit on his head, 3 times. And then Naropa got fainted. And after that, faint, and then he threw a little bit water on him, and then he wake up. He wake up with the enlightenment of equalness with his master's kind of wisdom. Yeah. His realization and the master Telopa's realize, it's become like mind transparent. So sometimes slipper empowerment is better than this kind of Bumba, Das, and then all those photos, all the, maybe it doesn't work, It's true, It's not a just fairy tale story. In the, I think about 7th century, those things real happen in real life. And there are many similar, kind of like stories, how a master, kind of can introduce to your absolute true nature of your mind. Because if you recognize absolute true nature of your mind, then you recognize everything. Similarly, as you read the words of my perfect teacher, in that also the Pablo Rinpoche and kind of his disciple. Sometimes this great the Dzogchen, the Tayaman, is kind of like how it is so much depend on the master. So that is why his kind of disciple serving this Pablo Rinpoche for so many times, and then sometimes receive teaching, and then rest kind of constantly serving with almost like a single pointed devotion. no tiny bit of doubt or hesitation in relation with the, kind of his master. So then Padre Rinpoche used to, every evening just, kind of sit outside, in Tibet, and then he have a small carpet and just put on the ground, and then lie down. Then there is a practice called Namkha Sumdu Gitamba. 3 space, instruction on 3 space meditation. So he is every time doing meditation. And then, Padre Rinpoche called his, kind of disciple. And they said, his name, Lungche, Padre Rinpoche, in a kind of nice way, kind of like a very close way of just calling, Lungche, kind of. So his Lungtok name. So Lungche, you said you didn't know the nature of mind. And then he said, yeah, I don't know. And then he said, just come here in the night, very clear sky, that moon, stars. And then said, just lie down same like me. And just lie down there. And then they are close to that Dzogchen monastery. And lie down. And then, the Padre Rinpoche, do you hear that in Dzogchen monastery dogs are barking? Oh, yes. Do you see that, in the sky there are moons and stars, so beautiful? Yes. Are you aware that we are having this conversation? And then he said, yes. And then, kind of, the Padre Rinpoche said, that is nature of mind. And then he just got to, recognize just nature of mind. Instantly. He attained that liberation. In one way it seems so simple, very simple. So then he knew, this is, kind of recognition of one's absolute true nature of mind. It's completely dependent upon the Guru's blessing. So there are so many stories of that, like Padre Rinpoche, and similarly like, Longchenpa, similarly our Holiness Master, Khenpo Ngakchung, and so forth. All these masters, how they transmit the absolute nature of mind after going through all those, some sorts of practice and service and so forth. So that what it becomes just important role of the Guru in one's life in relation with the spiritual training, spiritual practice, including to recognize one's own primordial pure nature. Even there is one expression that which is say, Tandom Hinjiki Yishini, Totenlame Jinlop, Tosa Tibata Belajan, Totenlame Jinlop Konale, Shandusha, Momber Shevaja. So Tandom Hinjiki Yishi, this is the, like spontaneously arise an absolute nature of mind. It only can be experienced through, enough purification of the obscuration and accumulations of karma, and the blessing of the Guru. Other than that, there is no any other way. So that way, kind of like when you enter into the, especially in the inner tantra, moreover the, Ati Yoga, the great perfection, the Vajrayana, the great perfection, the Tayaman, that one who gives you the, kind of like all this Vajrayana teaching, and then empowerment, and then the instruction, and then the guidance, how to carry through those practice. Finally, until that who introduce you to your absolute nature of mind. That becomes just very, very important role for oneself. because it really helps you to liberate. So that, until one just could to, have some experience, till to that one doesn't understand the important role of that, kind of guru, that what it is, kind of explained in the Vajrayana. Even though, just from like Hinayana level, still that, kind of the, master is just the most important role in one's life in relation with one's, spiritual path. Even in the Vinaya Sutra that we are saying, which means, just early morning, wherever one's, kind of like the master, stay, then early morning one get up and knock the door, slowly, and then, say, oh, kind of master, how you are feeling and so forth, what you need, and that way, in a kind of like respect way, in a devoted way, one asks and that do those service from the Hinayana level. In our Vinaya Sutra, kind of Vinaya Sutra is common to all like Hinayana, Mahayana, Vajrayana. The three Tripitakas is common to all. So from that, and then everything just one gain all those understanding, knowledge, realization through a just kind of like a qualified master. So that what it is, kind of like a, in the especially in the Ati Yoga, that is the Guru Yoga practice in the Dzogchen, where you hear Guru Yoga. Why it is kind of important? Because it is depend upon that when and how and which way one could have the recognition of one's true nature of mind or the Buddha nature is depend upon that master. And so forth, that the Vajrayana is in a way known as the kind of like a very swift path, because in there we're saying Ringlam, Nyelam, Nyulam. Ringlam, a long way to go to enlightenment. Like for example, I don't know, from here, just Malaysia. If you, maybe like travel to where? Singapore. Not too far. Singapore, you can go by bicycle. How long it might take. Or you can just go by car, much faster, And then you can also fly, very fast. So similar like Hinayana is almost like you are riding a bicycle to liberation or enlightenment. And Mahayana is like you are just driving your car, faster, much faster than riding a bicycle, but still it takes more time. Then Vajrayana is like you fly, 45 minutes. Just get there. So that what, kind of like that what it depends upon, the path, the bicycle or car or fly. And for that also we have to risk many things. All those conditions we need, So, just flying is also not that, kind of like simple. Once you are in the air, never know this, it is a machine. And this machine is impermanent, created of all those causes and conditions. There is no any guarantee. So once in the air, anything is possible. So it is kind of like a just risky, danger, Then you feel like, oh, I want to ride a bicycle. Even that it may take like, one day, I don't mind, So, like that, kind of similar like that is the Vajrayana view. The Vajrayana view, meditation, discipline. In relation with the discipline, that even there are some confusion that in Vajrayana there is, kind of like where you hear, within the Gana Chakra Puja, there is, wine and there is meat. And then also that, kind of the, in relation with the Vajrayana Inner Tantra deity, that which you kind of like, you might have just, seen some deities, kind of like appear in kind of like with consort union. And what is this? Not just kind of like understand what is all about it. Until one study and kind of receive all those teaching and just have some idea till do that, not. So for example, like this wine is equally prohibited from Hinayana all the way to Ati Yoga, great perfection. It doesn't mean that you enter into Vajrayana, you are practicing Dzogchen, then you can drink bottles of water, or wine. It doesn't mean. So that has to understand. In the talk, Gana Chakarpaja, that it has been Om Ahung, Ramyam Kam Om Ahung, Om Ahung Shri, like this mantra, bless. And with all the visualization, everything is visualized in form of its pure substances. And also bless. And that also only have kind of like tiny spoon, a few drops. You are having that kind of wine. In Vajrayana, never say you enter into Vajrayana, you can drink bottles of wine. Never say that. So have to just kind of like understand. And also Vajrayana say, if you drink like hundreds of bottles and you never get intoxicated, you can drink it. Like Guru Bama Sambhava, like the Tuptop, one Indian Tuptop, that I know his name, but not remembering now, because I'm getting old. Tuptop Biroba. So his Tuptop means Mahasiddha. So he went in a wine shop, looks like a beggar, and he asked for one bottle of wine. So they say, okay, I don't know if this person have money to pay or not. Anyway, just give one bottle. And then he finished it. And then asked for second bottle. Then the, the owner is just kind of a little bit confused. I don't think he have money. It doesn't look like he have money, Then he said, first you pay them money. Oh, don't worry, I'll pay you, don't worry, just give me the bottle. And give second bottle. And then again ask for third bottle. And still saying, no. That then the owner said, no, first you pay first 2 bottles money, otherwise not going to. Don't worry, I'll give you. And so then, kind of like the owner is not going to ready. And then say, just look at these, those who are in the wine shop. This all would be, witness. Before sunset, I'll give you all the money. Don't worry. And then they all said, yes, we'll be witness. If you don't give, then we'll just, do anything, whatever. Yeah, you can do anything, whatever you want to do. I'll pay, don't worry. So then they, they gave 1 bottle, 3 bottles, 4 bottles. She keep drinking. Because she have to give money only when sun sets, So, and then everybody is kind of, also those other people also kind of wonder, what this guy is going to do, and we are supposed to be witness, and then and he keep drinking, and then sun never set. Sun never set. If sun never set, then he don't have to give money, because he said, when sun set, I will give you money. So then they were surprised, what is going on? And then some said, maybe he did something, and then everybody got so curious, and it is getting, like 8 p.m., 9 p.m., sun never set, what is happening? And then they said, this must have done something. And then, kind of ask, just give me the money. Oh, just sun never set. Let the sun set, I'll give you money. And sun never said. Then finally just they got so bored and they don't know what to do and just say, okay, you no need to pay, please let the sun go. And then he said, are you sure? Yeah. The owner said, okay, no, we don't mind whatever drink you drink, let the sun go. They thought he must have done something. So he is, of course, kind of Vajrayana practitioner. He have a purba in his, kind of West, always carry, with all those practice and realization. So on the, kind of like a sun and the shadow, where you have border, there he put his purba. So he just kind of like hold the sun. He trapped the sun, like almost like tie up there. So sun never said, and then kind of like they said, no, just you must have done something, so we don't need money. And then everybody said, okay, it is okay, just kind of let the sun go. And then they said, are you sure? He asked 3 times, and everybody said, sure, sure. And then he took off his kind of purba, already dark. So, and he, kind of like 10 or 15 just bottles he drink. He's slightly never intoxicated. If you have such realization, such power, doesn't matter you drink 100 bottles of wine. There is no problem. There is no problem. So Buddha said, as long as your mind is not intoxicating, your mind has that power, then there is no any restriction with wine. If your mind is, even with 1 glass, your mind is already, that means you don't have that, kind of like, to maintain your awareness. You lose your mindfulness, you lose your conscientiousness, and you lose what you are just doing, and that the intoxication just kind of disturbs you, and that is why, Buddha said not allowed. So those are things, and that the Biroba did the Mahasiddha in India, not in Tibet. So similarly, Guru Padmasambhava drink, kind of like all those bottles of wine, never ever affected their enlightened mind. So that's also power, and that sort of realization even can control the, kind of like a sun. And so forth, all these, kind of realized masters, kind of the activity that which is really gone beyond the samsaric values and samsarically where we think right and wrong, pure and impure. It is gone beyond. So that what it is, kind of all those, masters. And also there is one very interesting, kind of like a story with the Milarepa and the Patamba Sangye. Patamba Sangye is from, kind of like India. Milarepa, maybe you heard, from Tibet. Both are Duptop, realized being. So they both, really appreciate so much, kind of, even they haven't seen. So one time they just kind of like say, oh, we'll meet somewhere. So then this, Indian Patamba Sangye went to Tibet, and then, Milarepa come down, and then when they met, and then they just, kind of like said, just we'll have some test. And then in a kind of like a single, kind of grass, a single grass, just sit on it. We both sit on one single grass here, one here, we sit on that and see who can do better. So that where it is possible that we even cannot sit on a kind of one single wood, piece of wood. You get hurt here. Like here, just put so many cushions, otherwise you cannot sit, And especially modern world, so spoiled with comfortable cushion, sofa, cannot sit on the floor like, 10 minutes, then they, oh, I hurt my butt, like this, So too much comfort. So Miller, when they anyway just kind of like a, single grass growing here, and then sitting in cross-legged in meditation. Almost they are equal, but the Milarepa's, kind of the grass little bit bent. So that, kind of Milarepa said, You think you have better just kind of realization? It's not. Because India, the Arya land, is the very, kind of holy place. Because Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, all those great beings blessed. So that is the only difference. Yours is straight and mine is kind of a little bit bent. So, and that practice, what is called all these channels and vital energy, so for those practice in Vajrayana. And with that practice, one can just sit on that kind of grass. So like that, kind of this how in Vajrayana, so many practices that which are kind of most of the time it is called kind of secret mantrayana. Until oneself is become more qualified and more trained with all other kind of teachings of Sutrayana, until one been introduced properly into the Vajrayana, starting with the outer tantras. For example, like outer tantra, there is no meat. In outer tantra practice, no meat, no wine, and no concerts, and kind of very similar to like kind of the Sutrayana kind of like practice, and everything has to be clean and nice. Like deities appear like Avalokiteshvara single, or Manjushri single, or Vajrapani single, or like Amitabha Buddha and so forth. So that all those training, and then go to like the little bit higher level Ubaya Tantra, and then kind of Yoga Tantra, and then finally you enter into the kind of like inner Tantra, that which there are substances and the appearance of deities and practices are kind of like a just some different from the outer Tantra. So. So, however, in a way, there are lots of information that need to, kind of go through and to understand, rather than just being, kind of seeing a little bit and get so confused. That, for example, whichever even it is called as Tibetan Buddhism, like, in our monastery, that, like, Namdroling, the Ngagyur Nyingma institution, that which is started by our late Holiness Rinpoche in 1978. So in that day, we have this, all the Hinayana, like, Vinaya Sutra practices there, and then the Sutra itself, kind of like meditation, and then the Abhidhamma, kind of those three Pitakas, whether it is Hinayana or Mahayana or Vajrayana, three Pitakas, that we have all those. And also study the kind of very basic Abhidhamma Kosh, Abhidhamma studies, and the Vinaya and so forth. And then at the same time Mahayana kind of teachings, and then the Vajrayana. So Vajrayana start on the first year, second year, third year, more like kind of like even mostly Hinayana level part of. Also there are some kind of Mahayanas like this Bodhichara Avatara, the Bodhisattva way of life, to train one's mind to give rise to bodhicitta. And also the three vows, the Pratyamoksha vow and Bodhisattva vow and Vajrayana vows. Those kind of texts we start from the very beginning. Other than that, many of the Hinayana, and then after that the Mahayana Sutra. All those Parjana Parmita, the Upadesha Shastra Alankara Nama, that one, and then the middle part of Chandakirti, and then the Nagarjuna's kind of text and so forth, and then that until to the 6th level. Then 7th, 8th, and 9th, last 3 years, then there is so much of the Vajrayana, kind of like a text and Vajrayana teachings, including just starting receiving all those kind of empowerment. So Tibetan Buddhism is not just only Vajrayana. All the kind of sutra and kind of tantra, and then the whole complete Buddhist philosophy is just kind of like a completely there, that we study everything. Besides that, in Tantra, then there are so many that great treasurer rebuilders, which are professed by Guru Padmasambhava. They rebuilt out so many texts. Those are mostly very famous well known in the Nyingma school. And then the Ngagyur also almost kind of like a follow. Then Sakyas, some part of those they follow. And then Kiluba, not much, kind of follow any of those, treasure revelation. But modern, kind of like Tibetan Buddhism, then it is more, kind of like a, just so much, kind of like a, cooperate to study, within the 4 schools, of all those different, kind of commentaries and so forth. Yeah, so I don't know how much that could help you to clarify your confusions, or mostly it is all that I just try to point at on the more crucial points. So then I'll stop here, and then oh yeah, time is gone so fast. Just whatever that confusions, doubts that you may have, whatever in relation what. So if you have any question, I will try my best if I can give you any kind of clarification or any kind of like an answer, Any
questions?
Thank you, Khenpo, for your explanation. I think I get a better understanding of Tibetan Buddhism now. But what I don't understand is when you go to a temple, Tibetan temple, there's so many all these statues and all that. I don't know. I find it's sometimes very scary, and I don't understand why you have that, and you have so many of these rituals that goes around with it. Is it really something part of Buddhism, or is it a mixture of something else?
Of course, all those have kind of like a specific reasons, and also it is all everything based on the kind of tantric texts and tantric teachings, and that how it has been transmitted from like a master to disciples, that in a way it is very great that even this till to the 21st century, this modern world, still we have all those kind of like practices. And as I said earlier, in the Vajrayana, we have somehow the outer tantra deities and inner tantra deities. And within those, there are just kind of like especially in the inner tantra, there are what is called wrathful deities, and then peaceful deities, that which in a way consider about 100 deities. And similarly, that in Vajrayana, there are thousands of different aspects of the deity, including like kind of whether deity is male or female, even just different colors, different gestures, different forms, and even some wrathful deities even have so many heads and so many hands. So these are not necessarily that the deities are always existing in that form, not necessarily. Because the deity or the Buddha or the enlightened beings are anyway, they don't have a self-characterized form. So they don't have self-characterized color or anything. It is all just manifestation. So the manifestation is also done on a specific purpose, such as even there is the explanation about like what is called maras or negative forces or evil forces that which were very, very negative and causing lots of kind of problems to kind of humankind, and also lots of negative influences. So many kind of in the past, Just there are so many stories explained, even including like, kind of Buddha's time too, and beyond than that. So just to, kind of like subdue and tame those, kind of like a evil force or negative force, which even they also could, kind of like a perform certain kind of very, very scary, appearance and, so many heads and so many, arms and holding so many different kinds of, kind of like a sorts of emblems or weapons. So just to subdue them, then the deity also manifest, even just more heads and more hands and more, kind of frightening kind of figures, just to subdue them. And for that purpose, then this deity's manifestation also, kind of like happen for those, kind of reason. Not necessarily that the deity always have, kind of like a, all those wrathful, kind of face or holding all sorts of things. So, there are these, kind of like specific explanation in every details of this, kind of the story. So based on that, whatever just like one like do that practice, then like for example, in our monastery, main monastery, there is the Shakyamuni Buddha and then Guru Pamasambhava, which is even also prophesied by Shakyamuni Buddha himself, that who will bring all the Vajrayana tantric teachings on this earth. And then to the other side, Amitayu, the long life Buddha, three men, and then rest of all those, kind of like lineage masters of the Payul, and then all the Dzogchen masters, and then some of those, kind of like deities, and similar like in almost all the Tibetan temples have those, kind of like deities, whatever that practices they do. Even we have one like what is called Vajrakilaya temple. Then Vajrakilaya is the kind of manifestations of the Buddha Vajrasattva. Buddha Vajrasattva on purposely manifested in form of kind of Vajrakilaya, that which appears kind of wrathful. And there are also kind of called Guru Tapo, that the union of Guru Pamasambhava and the Vajrakilaya that manifested in certain kind of form. And so like those kind of like a sadhana, what means kind of like a practice to how to go through all those visualizations. So according to that, certain places, then there are those kind of like a deity, just practice. And the confusion is now in this modern world that just even the whole complete news of east to west, north to south, the kind of like world, including all these temples, become just one can travel all around and can see. So that is why when one get into different culture, different system, different tradition, different kind of like style of kind of practice, one can see those. But this, like whatever it existing in the Vajrayana, these all have its purpose and meaning, and also its lineage and how it is being transmitted. So there is all explanations.
Khenpo, it seems like from this morning's talk, there is so much complication and confusion in all these different texts of all the different branches of the Buddhism. But in reality, they are all the same. So can one live in a practical way? Where does one find the time to kind of gather all this information and do all these practices of compassion and loving kindness, and then also cultivate the mind? But
I think the main thing is, how much knowledge does one need as a base to become sharp, 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 and reach wisdom? Never mind, the transcendental wisdom, but at least on the right path to transcendental wisdom. Where does one? How much? I think you earlier, Khenpo, you said something about in Mahayana Buddhism that there's this loving kindness and outreach and so on. They all add up, of course, but how does one allocate one's time and yet live in a worldly place? Thank you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. This our modern world, everybody is so busy. Yeah, everybody's so busy, and besides that, so much of distraction. So much distraction. Even you go for shopping, then you find so many things, you don't know which you want to buy. So that much of what is called really degenerating period of time. And so forth. Then also the living standard of modern world become in such a kind of like a such a system. If you don't follow with that system, then you left out. All this developed country have that problem now. If you don't have a job, then you don't have income, then you cannot pay the house rent and food and car and so forth, so many bills. Not just only in Malaysia, all over the world, America, Canada, in Europe, everywhere, this modern system of living standard, that which we consider as something developed, itself is causing so much consumption of time. So especially, of course, all the lay, followers or practitioners, just almost like Monday to Friday, one have to work. And morning, I don't know how early one get up, evening, and then already one day got exhausted, kind of like even like all our, students in the West, Europe, they say, oh, no, it's just and we do this, 5 days a week, kind of practice. When come home, try to do this, feel sleepy, got tired, So it's difficult. So based on that even this, the Atisha from the 12th century, from the Nalanda University, he later came to Tibet, invited by Tibetan, kind of like this king. So that his disciple, kind of like asked, what is the, kind of like essential point, similar to your question, what is the essential point of, engaging into Dharma? So, kind of, and also in one way, asked that. And then, he said, oh, that you have to follow in accordance with the, kind of like, he asked that to study all the sutras and then following a master's, kind of instruction. So then Atisha said, yeah, all the informations are there in the sutra, but it is to study, it is so vast and so profound, and this, kind of like a modern world, within a short period of life, that is not possible that one can go through it. So that is why one have to just kind of like follow the master's instruction. So masters, what they do is just the sutra, Vajrayana, and everything, whatever it is needed for a practitioner, that which is good enough and that which is complete enough, and that is given in form of a instruction. And with instruction, then just kind of like one kind of follow. So that is why now it began just to find a qualified master, who can be really capable to give you the right instruction, enough instruction and complete instruction, that which is, complete in the sense of the, whatever it is needed for oneself to purify these obscurations, and have that, enough method that can accumulate enough, merit and wisdom. And at the same time, one can just kind of like, possibly even, have at least, kind of some realization, some experience of one's true nature of mind. So that way, kind of to follow the path, then it is just to condense or the essence of the teaching compiled in form of instruction, and then one follow that kind of like a practice. And like in Vajrayana, especially in this kind of great perfection, where the speciality is that it says there is no difference of, in a way, there is no difference of whether you are, kind of male or female, whether you are old or young, whether you are rich or poor, whether you are, smart or not. Just doesn't matter. Because that is the Ati Yoga, the great profession, is such a powerful, kind of like practice, that whoever, kind of possibly get it or could receive it, there is possibility to have that realization in one lifetime. So in Tibet, this Pang Mifum Gombo, who was like 80 years old. And then when this Bimala Mitra, Lojim Berotana, so that came to Tibet, this Lojim Berotana, a great translator and Dzogchen master, so came to Tibet, and then this Pang Mifum Gombo, who was 80 years old, he somehow just kind of like felt, oh, this is the qualified master. And this is, which I want to accept as my teacher. And then he went to him and said, oh, master, look at me. I'm 80 years old. And I don't know how long I can live. So I need that practice, that within this, whatever left over time, that I could engage in the practice to have that kind of realization. So somehow the master also knew this is a kind of like a qualified disciple. But in the text, it didn't say he's not necessarily sharp level mind or anything. So he knew that, and then he gave the Dzogchen instruction. And according to this, great perfection instruction, he just completely dedicated all his time, like 7-Eleven. He abandoned all the worldly concerns, everything, almost just little bit of time to, eat some food and drink just to survive. So look at his mind, he just become like single-pointed mind to dedicate himself into the practice. There is no any other option, there is no any other thought at all. That much becomes have to, kind of like sincere. And that way he just, kind of went into this, cave and just carried through that practice. And then 3 years, he realized his, Buddha nature. He experienced. He was so happy, extraordinary, amazingly so happy. Just how much kind of like, the devotion and faith he had to his master, and how much grateful he feels to his, kind of master. So then as he heard that master is coming back, Then he went to see him and he hugged, like in sometimes says that he hugged the master for 24 hours. He was so happy. So, kind of like based on that, master also introduced. Yes, that is what means, the absolute nature of mind. So, now he's in our just kind of like Dzogchen lineage, become realized being. So, that's what it is supposed to do. Yeah.
Khenpo, just now you say about the dissolve of the subject and object and then become unconscious. Does it happen in the jhana, the meditation, the Nirodhi Samapatti? And how, if in the jhana, then you say we got to recognize and maintain it. That means we maintain sitting for longer or maintain in our daily life?
Maintain is just anyway, just two stage. Meditation equipoise, meditation equipoise. In a meditative state, where one just, kind of where you do real practice in meditation equipoise. And for example, when you realize the emptiness nature of one's mind or phenomena, at that point, the emptiness as object, and then the realizing mind, that transcendental wisdom as subject, there is no object and subject. So that the transcendental wisdom itself is the emptiness nature. And emptiness is the transcendental wisdom where you cannot find subject and object. So, it dissolves all the dualistic phenomena. So then in that meditative state of meditation equipoise, once one experiences that, or which is called direct experience or direct perception of the absolute nature. So that is actually exactly equal to the enlightened mind of Buddha in that meditation equipoise state. So then the second is what is called post-meditation stage. After you wake up from that meditation, post-meditation state. So then post-meditation stage is which is called day-to-day lifetime. So that to kind of to gain that stability into that such kind of like a practice meditation, then first one have to sit into that meditation, as much as possible. And then that recognition, what one could to have, that one have to just kind of like maintain in one's post-meditation stage while oneself is walking or eating or talking or sleeping almost all the time. Your mind is being aware about that, not being distracted by this samsaric phenomena or not being influenced by afflictive emotions and so forth. So that way have to just kind of maintain in the actual meditative state equipoise and also in the daily life, kind of being always mindful and aware about that nature.
Thank you, Khenpo, for coming here and giving us such a comprehensive picture of all the three turnings of the wheel, which we seldom hear about. We get, we usually are familiar with one, and then we think this is it. So maybe a question on, I'm fascinated by the emptiness part of it all, and the third turning of the wheel. And maybe this is a bit academic, but I'm very curious about the Buddha actually was thought to have given a sermon on emptiness at the Vulture's Peak. But this is not captured anywhere in the Tripitaka. Is there a text that we can refer to that is more or less the Buddha's word on emptiness and the nature of mind? So that's the first question I have. The second one is very much related to what our sister asked about something practical that we could do to realize, to move forward into something like nature of mind. I guess we could ask you to slap us with your sandal, and maybe this might work. But because we so seldom get, people of your standing coming to visit us, so we need a very good teacher. We also we also have to give up a lot, yeah? And I don't know that many of us can give up everything that we have, spend 3 years just focusing on one thing, yeah, and 24/7 probably, yeah. So this is asking a lot. So I'm wondering, from your tradition, do you have something like pith instruction? Is there something we can also build on our Theravada practice? A lot of us practice shamatha meditation, vipassana meditation. Is that not a good foundation to prepare and to be prepared for the nature of mind? Are there some things also that, from your tradition, building on that, building on shamatha, building on awareness, is there something more, but also practical that we can do based on maybe your tradition? Thank you.
Emptiness, of course, that in the whole this Prajnaparamita Sutra, the Prajnaparamita Sutra itself, that if we look into those, then kind of sutra itself, Buddha say, for example, like suk sukitong, tatre tong, titi tong, roroi tong, recha recha tong, that namshe kitong means kind of like the form is empty of itself. So in a way, form is empty, and the sound is empty, smell is empty, and then the taste is empty, and then the texture is empty, and then the kind of imagination is empty. So when the form and so forth, the objects are empty, then the organ, then the eye itself emptiness, and kind of so forth, ear is air, emptiness, so forth. And then the 5 aggregates are, kind of like emptiness. And that way, very extensively explained in the Prajnaparamita Sutra itself. So that is the, Buddha taught in that emptiness, just very detailed. Even there is 16 kinds of emptiness, and 18 kinds of emptiness, and 20 kinds of emptiness just taught in the sutra itself. So saying, kind of like outer phenomena emptiness, inner phenomena emptiness. Even in between there is something like, kind of that between also, emptiness. So chitongbanyi, nangtongbanyi, tongbanyi, and even the emptiness also say emptiness. Emptiness also emptiness, because in reality, this phenomena doesn't do anything. All the problems are in mind. So when say, this form is emptiness and so forth, then one thing, maybe there may be something truly existing. So emptiness may be just something, permanent. So it's still grasping something. Or emptiness, so form emptiness, feeling emptiness, everything is emptiness, the phenomena emptiness. But then the emptiness itself must be, existing. Or emptiness must be permanent. And then it's still just in the mind holding something. So that is why even Buddha has to say, emptiness is also emptiness. then where to hold now? So then it goes beyond, So anyway, that emptiness, that were taught in the sutra itself, very detailed, including like Heart Sutra, what the discourse between the Avalokiteshvara and the Shariputra, that at the end Buddha blessed and Buddha said, oh, that is good, that is like that. So means it is the kind of also known as Heart Sutra, as kind of sutra, because Buddha blessed, and because of that it become the kind of like a like modern days maybe Buddha confirmed the explanation of all of Shara's emptiness. Then your second question. Shamatha about those. So, shamatha is also necessary. That shamatha meditation practice is the foundation of vipassana meditation. But just by shamatha itself will not get anywhere. Even though many great Hindu sadhus and the Hindu sages, they have this samadhi, or even like that could possibly born in formless God realm. Such shamatha meditation, form realm shamatha meditation, all those just are. Even they could feel that in that shamatha meditation, feel like that there is almost no afflictive emotion. So then they think, oh, this must be the nirvana. But they don't have that vipassana, which is that experiencing something beyond that state of mind, that to transcend vipassana as to know the absolute nature of phenomena as emptiness aspect. So that is not there, so that is why they again just wander in samsara. So anyway, that shamatha meditation is the foundation of vipassana meditation, so it is important, it is necessary, it is to need that to kind of like to tame one's mind, to control one's mind, that where one may be not distracted with all sorts of emotions and conceptual thoughts and discursive thoughts, how it carries away. So single-pointed mind, concentrate, and that also one have to do until you could just kind of like in that meditation state, single-pointedness, where you feel very comfortable, and also some sense of freedom. How long you want to stay, you can stay, and no slightest thoughts disturb you. And anytime, whenever one wants to wake up from that meditation, one could wake up. Anytime one to sit, one can sit. That sort of shamatha meditation, not just only kind of like sitting there and then feeling like calm abiding or peaceful or relaxed is good, but still it is not the shamatha meditation. One have to have complete control over one's mind. Whenever you want to focus, how long you want to stay, you can just do that. That shamatha meditation is important. Then after that, then do kind of vipassana meditation, the insight meditation. Because insight meditation is the direct antidote of kind of self-attachment and the ignorance. The vipassana meditation, the insight meditation. And that what it is known as transcendental meditation. And that transcendental meditation is concentrating on the like absolute true nature of mind. So that day one have to receive kind of like a specific instruction. That instruction have to also get into step by step. There are a few steps that which one receive, and then concentrate into that meditation as much as possible based on the one's relative life, that however it is busy, in a way where say, oh, we don't have time. Time is in one's hand. If oneself doesn't make one's own time, then who will bring that time? Nobody. There's nobody to blame, When we die, got into this, lot of death and say, you didn't do a good job when you are in human being, then you can, I was busy with my job and I cannot do, I'm sorry. A lot of death will not excuse anybody. Sorry, you didn't do, I have all your records here. So according to the record, one have to follow. Really, it is not a joke, It's very, very true. And everybody is definitely going to experience every single aspects of things what one have done as one goes through process of dying and after the death and to next life. Nobody ever get excuse for anything. Whether one believe in Buddhism or not, whether one have one's own religion or not, whether one have one's tradition, culture, and kind of so forth, no matter whether one is just the controller of the world. Based on that kind of nature, everybody is just equal. Equal. There is no tiny bit of difference. No matter how famous you are, no matter how rich you are, no matter how busy you are, there is no any way to make any kind of excuse in front of the mirror of the law of karma. It's very short. So that is why if one feels, oh, dharma is important, then one must have to schedule one's own practice time. And try to reduce this samsaric activity, like how much time you spend for, kind of like a gossip. Talking, oh, this friend, that company, these people, that world, that, and so forth, how much is just talking, how much time is spent? And how much time you spend for eating? How much time you spend for shopping? How much time you just spend for so many of unnecessary things? Which means, relatively it seems very, oh, this is important. But in reality, there is no any real essence that you can just carry with you when death happens to oneself, So these have to contemplate and one have to understand and then, kind of realize, then reduce those, kind of time, slowly cut, and have more time, and then, to do those kind of more practice. That is the only possible. Otherwise, nobody will come and say, no, this is your today, your practice time. No, you can have your time for practice. Nobody. One have to do, one have to be responsible for one's future and one's liberation to attain enlightenment because one wants to benefit all these perilous sentient beings. Because we see, our family, relatives, a friend, somebody gets sick, somebody get, problems, somebody have accident, somebody died, then we get frustrated. We want to help. We want to do anything for that. But one gets so frustrated, don't know, unless you just take to doctor and then kind of give that medication and try to serve, other than that one can't do anything. When that situation, that only that practice will just kind of like help how to just kind of like maintain the situation without feeling, emotion. At the same time, one could have some sense of confidence into one's practice that from this life to next life one can get better, and then one day one can be enlightened to help, rest of all these things like, Shakyamuni Buddha and so forth. Billions and billions of beings were got liberated just by Shakyamuni Buddha's teaching. Even today, 21st century, there are still beings are attaining enlightenment, very few, but having realization, many, and engaging into practice to cultivate for better seed and habitual tendency for next life. There are many, you know.
I think we
Yes.
close the session. It's 12 o'clock.
There is one question.
We take last question, sister, please.
Last question.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Khenpo. My question is, we see that Nine Yanas is broadly classified into path of renunciation, purification, transformation, and self-liberation. Must all the methods be eventually practiced all, or is there any exception? Can certain paths be skipped or bypassed in order to have the same realization?
There is no any such thing to skip as part of the path itself. But there are ways how one can, kind of like get into the essence of the path itself. Almost like you're concentrating on one thing that which includes all the aspects of the path. So that, just one thing in a way, or in one way, like this, as Atisha also said, what is the essence of the whole Sutra Tantra teaching? So that it is a bodhicitta. So then one have to get exact meaning of the bodhicitta. So bodhicitta is in one way just combination of non-conceptual compassion. That one have to develop that compassion, that non-conceptual compassion without falling into any sorts of tiniest partiality. That compassion generates to all sentient beings equally. And the second is the kind of wisdom aspect. So wisdom aspect is that again, to carry through this meditation practice, one need to get the essence of the kind of teachings, instruction. How to kind of like a concentrate into the absolute nature of mind, which is kind of combination of the six perfection. So if one could somehow like concentrate into this kind of bodhicitta as motivation, bodhicitta as path, and bodhicitta as fruition, everything condensed within that nature, then that rest of all the practice, everything on the path is included there. Okay.
Thank you very much, Khenpo Guru. Thank you very much for giving us such extensive teaching. BGF is most fortunate to have you and our friends from Yasan Pema Nobu Vihara to grace this Sunday with clarity, dispelling of confusion, and also to explain the essence of Tibetan Buddhism. Education in itself, it's one of the most important things that the Buddha stressed, regardless of all schools. And today, thank you, Khenpo, for giving us very clear teaching. With that, we would like to invite our Brother Bobby Ng, Deputy President of BGF, to present a small token of appreciation to Khenpo for coming all the way. A small Tangka Khenpo from Spiti
Thank you.
of Shakyamuni Buddha just for you. We would also like to ask Brother Bobby to please stay to present a small token of appreciation to Sister, before that, to Venerable Lama Tashi. Lama Tashi, you have something too? Venerable Lopon Dawa on his first visit to BGF. And not forgetting our great supporter, Sister Susan Sim, a good friend, a long-time friend and supporter. Something very small. And also Sister Veronica Chong.
Something very small means something great.
Thank you very much. With that, there is a request to have a group photo in front of the altar with Khenpo, and then after that we shall invite all of you to kindly proceed to the lower ground floor as we offer food to Khenpo and the Venerable Monks. And please stay back and join us. Lunch has been arranged for all of you. Yes. With that, thank you very much. Please, dedication of merits by Khenpo. Thank you.
So we dedicate this merit, whatever we have accumulated this time, and also all your past merits, whatever you have accumulated, and also in the future that which you are intend to accumulate merit all together, not anything in the future, negative things, no need to dedicate. So all the Buddhist activities of the merit in the 3 times that we dedicate to all sentient beings to become that cause and condition to attain that liberation and enlightenment. On the other hand, that they could recognize their own Buddha nature, and at the same time with that power that may bring just auspicious and prosperity and peace and happiness all over the kind of like a globe, and at the same time because of this merit that can pacify all sorts of kind of disease, warfare, and famine, element disasters, and disturbance of the non-human beings, and especially to pacify the negative emotions of human beings, because the man-made kind of like problems, sufferings is now so much because of negative thinking, So all those may pacify and reduce, and everybody may have noble mind, like kind of bodhisattva, just be kind and loving and caring, to all sentient beings, kind of equally. In that way, just we dedicate our merit. Sonam deye tamje sikba ni tumnam nyebe tanam pamje shingjega naje panon tub sibe tole dogun jawara sho jambe pavi chitara kemba tang kundo sangbo teyan teshi Deda kunji jezo talo jinge wan dida tamje rabdu ngo dusum chebe gewa tamje ngowa gangla chokdo ngabandi taje jewe zawan digun sambu cheje rabdu ngowara ki tembe pajuru lame shabe ten tin tin jibi sating yongla tembe chinda ngatang jorba Temba yirin be tashi sho kewa kundu yangda lama tang jeme choje pala lon Sadan lamje yende rabdo ne bande lame goba nyodo sho. Oh yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we pay our respects to Khenpo? We will bring a chair for Khenpo. Maybe Khenpo sit here and then we can take a group photo. Can we trouble you all to just help put the cushions back here? Thank you. Just inside.
Thank you.
Come. Like that and then like that. Yes, thank you.